good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are joined with Grow Daily, and this is another episode of Grow Daily Meets. And today we are joined by a very, very special guest who goes by the name of Ashley Waters, well known as an actor and musician. How are you today, my brother?
I'm good, bro. Good.
Good. Brief introduction. What we do every time we sit down with someone is Grow Daily Meets is pretty much a conversation worth having. So it's a conversation we'd have off camera. If I was to see you in an event, see you out on the street, very natural conversation, but at the same time, getting the gems out of you, which we know are going to help benefit people that are watching. So first and foremost, how are you at the moment? How are things? How is Ashley Waters at this current moment in time and the projects you've got happening?
This current moment in time, right now, right now, I'm comfortable. I'm around like-minded people or whatever, so I'm comfortable. In general, if you're talking about like time in my life, it's brilliant, man. I'm married, I've got 8 children, 8 beautiful children, 2 beautiful kids with my wife, her stepson, who is my son anyway as well. So, just got my family life straight. And that's I say this to everyone on a daily basis. If your family ain't straight, bruv, and your home ain't straight, life ain't gonna be straight, fam. Trust me, whatever you do, however much money you think you're earning, however good you think things are going or whatever, the core and the foundation is always your support network, which is your family, man. And you have to keep them strong. Agreed. So they can keep you strong, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm in a brilliant space when it comes to family is brilliant. So I've got the ability and the freedom, I suppose, to mentally just go and focus on my job and not worry about my home.
Definitely. You mentioned something quite early on, which I think is very interesting. You said about you're around like-minded people at the moment, and just being someone who, whether it be overlooking your socials or just someone who's a follower of you, I can tell. I can tell that those groups of friendships definitely over the years have changed, and you can see how it's changed within you, and you can also tell that at the moment you're around a certain space. Let's speak more about that. What is it that's changed? What is it that is totally new people to your life? Have you chose new people intentionally? What is it that's changed?
I think I've been gravitating towards, the space that I'm in now already. And it's been quite a weird journey because, I realized that I had to, first and foremost, change my circle. My circle consisted of people that enhance my bad parts. I don't blame them for it because they were kind of mentally going through the same thing that I was going through, but we weren't helping each other. And when you're with a group of people that you all want to stay average, no one wants to step out of the box and do something different or something better to inspire the others. We were happy kind of keeping each other in a comfortable space where we didn't have to think about doing anything better. So I got out of that. I changed my circle, and then some of those, I kind of revisited a lot of those people that I left behind when I changed my circle, and they had gone on the same journey as me. So right now, like my circle of friends consist of some really positive thinkers. Some too extreme, to be fair, for me. Like Swiss, one of my best friends, one of my closest friends. Swiss is vegan, he's fully on nutrition, spirituality and whatever, to a point where I'm kind of, when I'm around him, I'm like, whatever. And this guy will bombards my WhatsApps every day with, links and this and that and whatever, but we train each other like that, do you know what I'm saying? And it keeps me focused, but so he's one of the main examples, one of the people that, we've gone into certain business ventures together recently as well. So it's meant that I've naturally had to spend more time with him. And kind of, I suppose when you're around a certain environment or you're around certain people a lot, you subconsciously warm to, you become how they are. You fit in. So I've not fully gone vegan yet. But I'm on my journey, innit? I'm on my vegan journey.
What are you? I'm the wrong person to mention this to. We're gonna stick on this one. So what have you quit at the moment, or what have you got?
I've quit meat.
Nice. How long?
A month and a half.
I'm 2 years in.
Good luck. It's a hard thing. Listen, right now I'm at a place where like any minute now I could just go back. You know what I'm saying? It's not even a thing. It might be tonight. You see what I'm saying? Like, where I say, I don't lie to people. I'm nowhere near there. I'm just starting to understand the benefits of it.
What's the reason? For those who don't know, what's your reasoning?
All right, me personally, what happened for me, over the years, all my alcoholism, bad lifestyle, lack of sleep and all that stuff, eventually has resulted in me having eczema, so I get really bad eczema, IBS, and a lot of other stomach problems. So I became lactose intolerant.
Which I'm sure Swiss will say all black people are.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. No one's meant to be eating no dairy, basically. That's his theory. So I've kind of had to go on a journey with my doctor as well when it comes to what has been the issues with my body and my stomach and whatever. So it's been my journey trying to cut out different things. Now, this is not to become vegan or whatever. This was literally to stop being on the toilet all day. If you know, I'm an actor. I work 14 hours a day and I'll be in the middle of scenes and a pain will lick my stomach, bro. And you know what I mean? We have to shut down the shoot. You know what I'm saying? If you know what I'm saying. So, and it just can't run. It's time consuming and it wastes money. So I had to start thinking about my diet and whatever. So kind of initially I stopped drinking. I started drinking alcohol, which did wonders for me. More for my focus, but physically gave me a lot of energy back.
How often was you drinking before?
I was drinking on a daily basis, but I mean, I wouldn't say I was an alcoholic, but it became, it becomes part of the lifestyle. Studio, man's having a drink. Man's having a drink. I've got a gig tonight, man's having a drink. So kind of the combination of that killing my body and my wife being teetotal, never done any drugs in her life, never smoked, never drank, kind of pushed me to that decision. But that's been brilliant for me first and foremost. And then like when it comes to food, changing the diet, I mean meat. On a daily basis I jog in it for the last like 2.5 to 3 months straight. And how much longer I can jog since cutting out the meat is a different thing. So I realized kind of, I don't know the technical terms for whatever's happening, but I feel the change.
You feel more energetic.
I feel more energetic, I feel lighter, and obviously I felt like the meat was bogging me down in some way.
Have you found it a struggle to like cater towards the new diet just in natural habitats?
Right, this is the issue why I'm finding it so difficult, because I live my life on the road. You see what I'm saying? So I've been sampling people. Like I found some guy that kind of makes your meals for you. You know what I'm saying? For the week. So I was doing that, like buying that, but then I didn't like the food. And then there's some like vegan spots I can go to. I'll be cool. Cook daily. I'll rinse that. You know what I'm saying? But then most other places, not to my liking. So it's like, what do you do? When you're stranded.
But you're still eating fish though, right?
I still eat fish, I love fish, bro. I can't lose that right now, so, you know what I'm saying? But Swiss, fully, like I said, he's gone, fully.
Doesn't surprise me as Swiss because he's been on that journey for quite a while.
For a while.
So that makes, I'm glad you put that in there because now I kind of understand the new space you're in as well. And then obviously you mentioned the jogging, so have you always been onto the fitness and the health that as much as you are now?
No. I've been really lucky, you know. I think most of us, kind of as black people, we are kind of lucky where, like our genes and our muscle memory, for obvious reasons, are very different to other people, to other races. So it don't take much, you know what I'm saying, to get a physique or to get your physique back if you've lost it. But I started boxing when I was 15 years old, 15 to 17. And before that, I ran for my school. So I did 100 meters and relay. And so that was kind of my fitness. I was always kind of fully active or whatever, but kind of with the music lifestyle and the film lifestyle or whatever, I just became lazy, man. I think what prompted me really to start working on my body was kind of, I was seeing a lot of the new school actors coming in. And this is like, my son's 15, one of my sons 15, and he plays basketball. He's like 6 foot odd, size 13 foot. And he just started banging out at the gym and would be coming home. You know, you come out the bathroom like, you right? whatever. But I'm like, raw, this guy, he could actually do it. Obviously, I'm not going to let him know you could do me, but he might have a good chance. Do you see what I'm saying? So I thought, I need to step up my game. And, you know, you see weight coming on certain places and whatever. So I just felt like, as a 35-year-old man now, I need to, you know, the days are gone where I would drive past these people, you know, power walking or whatever, and laugh at them like, what you doing, man? Go home or whatever. You realise that as the older you get, where your body changes and kind of slows down, you need to be doing more to keep yourself healthy. If I have to leave this world, I wouldn't want it to be because something I was doing or consuming myself. Do you know what I'm saying?
That. Yeah, I love that. Would you say that you seem like someone who develops new habits quite well, quite easily, should I say?
I've got an addictive personality.
Yeah, I was going to get,
I
thought so.
Yeah, that's led me down the wrong path many a times though. You see what I'm saying? It's a gift and a curse. But when I find something I like, I rinse it till there's no tomorrow. So I haven't missed a day of gym in 3 months.
Oh, we see you.
I don't play. You know what I'm saying? So I've been going in, and I love it. But like I said to you in the beginning, it's focused me so much, man. Yeah. You know, one of the main things, I'm up early.
I was just gonna say, what is the structure of your day? Like, how is your day going now at the moment? Let's say this week.
So every morning, 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm with my personal trainer in the gym. So we do a full-on hour to 2 hour session. Usually after that session in the evening, I'll go to my local members club, which has got a gym, and bang out another hour. And then an hour's jog at least in the morning, every morning. Difficult, man, difficult. Also, I do boxing Monday night. I'm not doing it tonight because I'm here, but Monday nights in Labatt Grove with an ex-boxer I know. But that's mainly for training for the new TV series I'm doing.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so I'm mixing it up. I start yoga in like 2 weeks. I want to do yoga. I'm learning Spanish for the last like 4 weeks now. Yeah. So I'm just like trying to just focus my mind as much as possible, train my brain as much as possible, and keep me away from, you know, stuff that's just not good for me, fam.
All right, so going back, because for me, I've always perceived you as someone who's always taken on new skills. As I say, like, I remember seeing things as a very young age that you was like in Sylvia Young and different things that I would not have thought of Asher D, quote unquote. Have you always been very focused on extracurricular, like from a young age?
Yeah, I've had to be. I had no choice. My mum kind of worked in education at a level that there was no excuses in my house. So she weren't just a teacher. She was head of human resources for all the teachers in the borough. So she was like, she was like, I know, brother, it's mad pressure. She was hiring like the headmasters and, you know, like that sort of level. That's what she did. So she knew everything was going on in my education, what system I was going through or whatever. And when I came home, it was like school again. I had tutors 3 days a week, whatever, all of this stuff. I could never tell.
And this is growing up in Peckham?
This is growing up in Peckham, man. I always say with my mum, education, holidays, and quality time. That's all it was that she gave. The rest of the time, she was a nightmare. You see what I'm saying? And she won't understand me saying that because she wanted better for me so much. She pushed it too much, man. You know, like, as a parent, I know now because I've got my kids. So when I look at my youths and I'm like, I know what I went through, and they kind of going down the same road. I get so passionate about it and whatever, to the point that, you know, my son might not talk to me for 3 months because he's like, look how you talk to me or whatever. But it's like out of love. But my mom did that with me all the time. So, but I was scared. I had a healthy fear of her. But she was very ingrained in the whole system. So I had no excuses. So
you really had to play the game the right way because she was in the game.
Of course. Very well-to-do woman, well-educated, very articulate, well-spoken, and hopefully, you know, she just passed it down to me. But one thing I knew with her was there was no my mum worked hard, and I saw that graft day in and day out. She did everything she could. It was on a budget, you know what I'm saying? But this woman, she would fly to New York just before I started my new year at secondary school. You know, when a pound would get you $2, you know them ones there. So she'd be out there getting my Jordans and whatever, making sure I look fly. You know what I'm saying? Come back in 3 weeks, bare bags. There you go, sunlight. So I remember them little things that she grinded for me. Never turned around to me and said it couldn't happen, like always. So I think I've taken that on still.
So how did you get from the extracurricular you was doing into acting? Out of all the activities you was doing, everything you was partaking in, what was it that said to you, acting is my thing and that's what I'm going for?
It was, if I'm honest, it was kind of forced on me in the beginning. My cousin, my elder cousin, Wasp, Lewis, he was acting. He was at Sylvia Young Theatre School. And his mum was working full time. My mum wasn't at the time. So my mum became his chaperone. And just ended up taking him to all his castings, all his auditions or whatever. And I would always end up be like tagging along. And I think one time we went to a casting for a play called, what was it, Children of Eden at the Prince Edward Theatre in West End. And the guy there was just like, said to my mum, you know, you might as well just slap a number on him as well. Because it was an open audition, so she was like, let him try. And then long story short, I got the job, bro. And
just for those who don't know, Sylvia Young, like for me growing up, Sylvia Young was just spoke about so much in the environment I was in. I don't know how popular it is now or if it's still even going.
It is still going. It's not as popular, but if, you know, comparison-wise, I'd say it was the identity of its time.
It was like, the way I knew it was if you was on TV, you went through Sylvia.
Like especially as a child actor. But there was a time where, you know, Sylvia Young, they had most of the adult actors in EastEnders.
Yeah, exactly.
They had all the kids in Grange Hill or whatever. So most of our popular shows that we grew up watching would have been, you know, the actors were provided by Sylvia Young, a lot of them. And Natalia Conte, a few others. So and a share as well.
How did you find that environment, getting into that environment? Because I'm assuming you had just come from the rawness of Peckham.
It was difficult. Me and my cousin didn't fit in. We went Sylvia Young. I started going like he did on the weekends. So we went Saturdays, part-time. And we were nightmares, bro. I mean, I terrorized some people in there. I know that for a fact. I can't speak for my cousin, but I know he did. But I terrorized people. Like one of my worst memories, and like, people are gonna hate me for this, but I have to say it because it just shows you how bad I was. One time, me and my cousin, we went Burger King or something. Someone brought back a Burger King drink, a Coke, and I don't know what took over us, but we were like pissing the cup in it. So man, we just pissed in the Coca-Cola. And like went round and was like, who wants to drink? Who wants to drink? Nah, you know what? Man should be laughing. I don't even know if I should say this. Nah, because this is the sort of thing, yeah. Where did that come from? This is the sort of thing. Nah, but that's what I'm saying. We'll talk about that a bit more in more detail soon because that is the mentality. The mentality was, and this is like jokes aside, the mentality was, because I think about it, like why did I do that? But the mentality was, we were surrounded by loads of rich, middle-class, young kids that we weren't meant to be there. And we resented that. You see what I'm saying? Like, there was some sort of resentment in us. We weren't young to understand it was resentment, but there was something in there. So when it came to kind of offering around the drinks, one guy took it, and he backed it, boy. No word of a lie. He backed it. And it was one of the worst times at Sylvia's, man, because, you know, we got reprimanded by the head, Sylvia Young, and Mum had to come and drag us out, and we were appropriately punished for our behaviour. Do you know what I mean? And I have to say, disclaimer, I regret it. It's not something that I would do again. I was young.
For the record.
Very young, for the record, right?
Cool. So moving further into your acting career, I mean, it's not going to be in chronological order because I'm not sure which show was first, but what was it that sort of made you realise you could actually do this at a level which could be a professional level?
It was It was Bullet Boy.
Okay.
Yeah, it was that late on. I'd done a lot of work
Yeah, because you
before
was
then.
in Grange Hill before then, but you still wasn't sort of sold into it.
No, I was at that point. Music was my life.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to be Biggie Smalls. I'm going to be.
So how did you
Jay-Z.
feel having like let's be honest, most people from your environment generally wouldn't have so many options. Let's be honest, like not many people would have sports, music. It was usually you've got one way out of the quote unquote hood.
Yeah.
How did that change you as a person, knowing that I know for a fact your surroundings didn't have that many options? So how did you deal with having so many options and working out which was for you?
I ran away from it, to be fair, in the beginning. Excuse me. This is why kind of Bullet Boy was when I started to take my career seriously, because I'd changed and grown up and matured differently and been through the Soul Solid cycle and the mill, ended up in prison, and that's kind of when I was reborn in my own way. Do you know what I'm saying? But before that point, I didn't want to, like, I played piano on the weekends. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
and that's the kind of thing I really want to delve into, because it's like I come across these facts and I'm still like, like, that's mad. And I know a lot of people would think the same thing, but you still kept that very healthy balance of, it's almost like Asher D and Ashley Waters, really, isn't it?
I led two lives, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you can ask Gigs, them. Like, I grew up with all them, innit? Bark, whatever. So they would hardly see me every now and again because I'd be working, or like at Grange Hill, at L Street, this, that, or whatever. But then Burgess Park all day comes. I was there with the man. You know what I'm saying? Like Bagger Peckham boys and that, like letting off fireworks. We're out there doing our thing, whatever, going mad and whatever, and then back home, homework. So I kept on crossing the thing. Literally, like, people used to diss me. I had a moment we were at Radio 1 doing Live Lounge, Soul Solid, when we were at like the Heights, and we must have had lunch, and we're sitting down just eating lunch in a green room, and the TV was on, and the Young Indiana Jones come on. I did the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles for Lucas Films when I was like 10 or something. And my little face come on the thing, riding a camel in Morocco or something. And them lot were like, bruv, is that you? I was, yeah, fam, yeah. But I'd done so much, like, people didn't really know. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, how much I was grinding. But I just wanted to be normal. Yeah. So I hated the stigma that was attached to it. Like, right, you're doing ballet. I was doing ballet classes, tap classes. You know them ones, like doing stuff that...
Would you hide that you was doing those things?
Of course, I was hiding it, yeah.
So when would you say you got to a stage where, because you don't come across like that, you come across like someone who actually doesn't care what you lot think because this is what I'm on. Yeah. But maybe that's with time, and maybe that's more so now.
It's definitely with time, and more so now. I mean, more so from Bullet Boy come, and I won the Most Promising Newcomer award. And things has changed for me, doors open. I met some interesting people, different people, and I realized, like, you know what? I've been punishing myself. I don't know, you know when you feel like, what am I punishing myself for? Like, this path is there for, man. I'm obviously doing well in it. At that point, I didn't know what was interesting people so much, but I knew I had something. So it was either like, you know, shy away from it at that point. It just become like a viable financial route to take. I was able to feed my family and my kids from it, pay my rent or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, it made sense for me to pursue it, and more importantly to lock it down as to what it was I needed to be doing, understand it technically, and understand, you know, what it was I was giving people, so I could measure how much I gave people. Do you know what I'm saying?
At that time, what was your why? Was there ever a money focus for you? Way before kids, way before family being your why? What was your why?
My why was, I suppose, it was about the art, whatever, and then maybe I just love performing. But there was never, for me, it was never about like money. So I know it's like, it's cliche to say, but it's like black people are always in recession sort of thing. I never knew. For me, I was rich. That's why I was concerned. I didn't know that I didn't have money until I started being pushed around people that had more money. You know what I'm saying? But before that point, I was calm. I was like, cool, I got my things or whatever, rare. I was looking down on other people like, you lot broke. You know what I mean? You did. You know what I'm saying? So, like life, I suppose, just changed when I kind of knew that I could do what I love to do. It was like that moment, you know, when you're like, I suppose how footballers must feel a lot of the time. Like playing football, when you go out playing football as a kid, that's all you want to do, innit? It's just kick ball. And then the minute people are throwing money at you for playing it, it must be a feeling of you're very lucky to be doing something that you enjoy so much doing. That doesn't feel like work. And that for me was what acting has always been. Acting and doing music has never been, it's always felt like light work to me. Like it's just what I do naturally. So it was a no-brainer to kind of just stick with it and pursue it. But the why was never about making money. It was always about the craft, yeah.
So musically, I mean, we're before Bullet Boy, we're a few years into Sylvia Young. I'm not sure what age, sort of 19, 20, is that when you come across So Solid?
Yeah.
What was it that drew you towards that? I'm not gonna get into the ins and outs of how it happened because I think many people know the story, the pirate raid, etc. But what was it that made you think that's my next focus?
Well, like I said, music had always been bubbling away in me already, but it's a combination of things. One of the big reasons I kind of joined So Solid or wanted to be part of So Solid was because I grew up as a single child. So I've got 4 brothers from my dad, but I'm my mum's only child. So I grew up as a single child. I grew up, you know, getting mugged, bullied, just taking the piss out of basically, because I had no brothers. My cousins weren't around them ends or whatever, so it was just kind of me one, and I always had to deal with myself. So, but I've forgotten the question. What was the question?
What was it that drew you towards?
So it was camaraderie, it was unity that kind of made me, you know, it's being part of a pack, being part of a gang. It was a gang. You know what I'm saying? Essentially, it was, that's what we were. So
you see that word? See, you use that word gang.
I use the word gang in a sense of a group of like-minded people.
Cool.
I don't mean criminals.
Yeah, because I was going to say at the time the media would have loved, they would have had a field day with that word. Yeah. So what is it that makes you use that word? But yeah, you've explained this. It's obviously the unity. So it was almost like the whole theory of being in a family that you haven't got big family, and you see that family over there with a big family. It's like, I wonder what it would be like Christmas at their house. That kind of feeling.
That was the vibe for me. Mega became my older brother. You know what I'm saying? Certain man became my father figure and whatever. And, you know, it weren't all positive all the time, but it was better than what I felt I had. And I felt I belonged. And more importantly, no one could trouble me again. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, so I felt protected. I felt all of that stuff. And that was kind of one of the main draws for me. But also as well, the fact that everyone was making music. Yeah. And we all loved it. We came from the Yo MTV raps on MTV Base era when you had to wait up till 3 in the morning for the thing to come on and tape it on VHS. I could show man the bag of VHS tapes I've got with that show just taped, and that's when I learned about spitting, about rapping or whatever. Before that point, I was listening to Smash It stuff, Kylie Minogue, Bros, you know them sort of things, like music that didn't represent or that I couldn't relate to. Yeah. So when we got like it was the Camp Low, Biggie kind of, you know what I mean, Jay-Z sort of era, Tupac and that's when I just fell in love with it. But all we had to lay our emotions on at that point was garage. Yeah. Because that was owned by the UK and was kind of underground and street, so all we did literally was like rap on garage. Yeah. You know, before it was PSG, they were doing party vibes or whatever, and we just came and started talking about pain. You know, man tried to shoot me on the block and started just taking it somewhere different. So
when So Solid is spoke about, it's always going to be spoke about with a level of respect, a level of legendary status, groundbreaking, trailblazer, someone who, should I say, a group of people who changed the game and had a massive influence. I've always been intrigued to ask someone who was in the midst of that, how do you feel the influence was being inside it and not being outside?
How did we influence others?
Yeah, how would you say that So Solid influence? I'd say the culture, not even just necessarily music, just England, London, the culture at that time of what we've now got, because it definitely had a direct effect.
I'd say we were slightly responsible for making the music industry here a bit more like flamboyant. I think because we were so, I think it got to the point it became slightly ridiculous, because we would watch them American videos and that, and the cars and the way they had their jewelry and the clothes and whatever. And we introduced a lot of that into garage. So a lot of time you'd see me would be like a bucket cap like Jay-Z fitted, or we'd be in velour tracksuits, Inichi, or what, like that sort of. We were fully into that culture, long chains with pendants on. You know what I'm saying? And then the flashy cars and whatever. So we kind of introduced that American kind of style just to the UK music. Way. Yeah, of course. But we did it in a very English way, and we did it because when we actually started to meet those Americans, they weren't doing it. Yeah. They weren't actually doing it for real.
So you mean they was portraying it, but not?
Oh, they were renting jewelry, or like renting cars or whatever. But we were adamant. If you talk to producers, video like directors or whatever, if we come, like if there's cars in the video, it's our cars. Yeah. We'd argue about that sort of stuff. Like I remember Mega like being like, no, rent cars? Are you mad? Man will buy the cars, fam, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like it was our stuff, jewelry, ours. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, of course, there was mad pride. Like we wouldn't do it like that. But then we started to meet the American artists. We started to have like Beanie Siegel and people come through the studio in Brixton and that and whatever. And a lot of them were fronting, fam. Like, you just feel like, rah. So we pushed it to the next limit. And that also came with some of the negativity as well, though, because obviously a lot of the gangbanging stuff and the gangster rap in America, that attitude, came over with the culture that we kind of brought over with it as well. So it did get messy every now and again, but positively we opened it up. Like we made it okay to be flashy. We brought that Diddy thing to the game. If you watched our videos and that, it was kind of like, Mega with the bowler hat and whatever. We brought some style. Yeah.
Nowadays, that would have been a sponsor.
Of course, that's what I'm saying. Peaked too early. It's another one of them things. But it's really cool. I'm glad that I've always managed to be on the cusp of something. When it comes to like the wave of film, I think Bullet Boy was like before Kidulthood. It started off that whole genre. And the same with music, So Solid doing that. And then Top Boy, has been a pioneering move or whatever. So I'm happy that I've always managed to be at the edge, at the beginning of things rather than on the back end of it.
Cool. So focusing on the positive part of So Solid, because we're going to sort of move past that, because we all know the ins and outs, the music, the this, that, and the other. What would you say you positively learned from So Solid?
Loyalty. And how to be a man. I think I had to go through, I went through a stage of, I hated So Solid. You know what I'm saying? I thought it ruined me. But I realized and was never controlling my own destiny. It taught me a lot, man. It taught me a lot. So, I put my life in other people's hands that I felt were out to mess my life up. But they just couldn't handle having my life in their hands. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, when you just go to someone like, hold that for me. But they was like, it was too hard for them to juggle.
Is it your fault for being them, or is it their fault for being able to handle
And like, it's the worst thing in life is, that was me, my bad. The worst thing in life you can do is go through it blaming other people for what's gone wrong for you. I say this to my kids all the time. I was like, if you walk across that street now, on the zebra crossing, and the driver looks in your eyes, and you look in his eyes so he can clearly see you're gonna step out, and he still knocks you over, it's your fault. How is it my fault? It's your fault, bro. There's always something you could have done first. Don't get it. I hate hearing all this. But you did this and you did. No, forget that.
Once that's owned,
Yeah.
that's in your hands.
Yeah, of course.
Once you've got that locked, that formula locked, especially from a young age, it's like, I feel like it's one of the biggest pillars of success.
Cool.
For you to be able to own your own ups and your downs.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's it. I mean, don't get me wrong. We all do it. I fall short.
Yeah.
With my wife, sometimes we have stupid arguments. I have to check myself. Like, what am I? Like, that's me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? But as much as I can, especially in my business, I have to have that philosophy, because otherwise I'm waiting for people to mess up my team, basically. Do you see what I'm saying? You get to a stage where you realize, like, I should have delegated better. I should have been able to see that you weren't, you know, and that comes with kind of being selfless as well, because you have to kind of be perceptive when it comes to other people's pain and plights. I have a lot of people that work for me, and I don't delegate just based on what their skill set is. I also delegate on where they are mentally in their life, how they feel, what's going on for them. And that's what another comparison, but that's what makes a brilliant football manager, because I always used to think, why do they need a manager? As well as the coaches, teaching them actually how to do the skill or whatever, but someone that always has to have an overview of what's going on, like a director. You know, I'm only thinking about what my character's motivation is, but he has to understand everyone's and how they come together. And that's what team management is about. But,
definitely. So we in So Solid now, we had our little obstacle with the law, what we know about. And again, as I say, I'm not going to focus on the ins and outs of how that happened. What I am going to ask you is how you felt in that situation, what you learned from that situation, because it seemed like from us being the outside world that was like the end of an era and the start of the new Ashley Walters. So I feel like a lot must have happened in that period. And what was going through your head? I mean, you're sitting in 18 months on your own?
7 months I did.
Okay.
I got sentenced to 18 months.
But you're, okay, cool.
I did 7. I got 2 off for good behaviour. I mean, well, I lost my children, yeah, and...
When you say you lost, just to clarify.
I lost my children, meaning I couldn't see my kids.
Okay, yeah.
My kids were like, they're my heir, you know what I'm saying? Like, I breed my children, so kind of having my children taken away from me. And then pretty much slowly and surely everything else was the most difficult thing to deal with. That was a huge shock to my system. But I tell everyone this, like, what happened when I came out of prison was I just went back to being Ashley. There was no, you know.
Would you say it sort of popped the bubble that you was in?
Yeah, of course. For the good, yeah. Because I was like, when they shut my cell door, I kid you not, I sat there thinking they'd made a mistake.
They're gonna come back.
I was adamant that, and it's happened in my life before. I feel blessed because I know, like, there's some energy I have or something that's drawn to me where it's not luck no more. It's these things are happening for a reason. Like, they're meant to be my opportunities. They're meant to be my thing. So it was, getting into So Solid was divine, bruv. It was, you know, meeting Big Kid. Didn't know Big Kid worked at Supreme, whatever, but I'd already wanted to be So Solid before. Yeah. So the universe put all these things in a place and it just worked well. Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? So this whole guy in prison thing and whatever for me was like, it was eye-opening, but it was just someone going, okay, you've had your fun. You know what I'm saying?
Did you clock that in the time?
In
the actual moment, did you clock, do you know what, this is meant to happen, or did it take you to come out? Did it take a while?
No, that process happened whilst I was inside, I think.
Yeah.
Because I went in there blaming everyone. I went in there like, why no one ain't visiting me? Yeah, where's my thing? Where's my money? Where's my this? Where's my that? You know what I'm saying? Ringing my mum, tell this man to do that and whatever. And that was a good few months of that crap until, like, I think I picked up Long Walk to Freedom, Nelson Mandela. Okay. I banged that out, and then I became, you know, your typical reformed prisoner. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't convert to Islam like everyone else, but you know what I mean?
Did you read a lot in there?
I read a lot. That's the most I've read in my life.
What would you say your most impactful book has been that you've read?
It was the Nelson Mandela autobiography, and inside I read The Scholar. Okay. Have you read that?
No, I haven't
Courtier Newland. Just about two youths growing up in the ends. One, they're cousins, and one, his parents die, I think, if I remember right, and he has to go and move in with his cousin. But he's bad, but his cousin's trying to be good, and it's just there, you know, the struggle and whatever, and it just, a lot of it just, I could relate to it, do you know what I'm saying, where I felt like it, me and my cousin and other stuff that had gone on. So it moved me, man, but it was, you know, like we know, personally, and not everyone does, you have to look for the hidden gems within these stories. So on the surface, they're about scenarios, but they're just like the Bible when it comes to them telling you messages.
Like a story
yeah, exactly,
yourself.
right. So you have to find that within your own, in your own way. Do you know what I mean?
So as that time was obviously coming to the end, I'm assuming in your head, because this was like the peak time for So Solid, everything was popping off. But then it started to kind of decline while you was in, is that right?
Yeah.
So what was going through your head in regards to you leaving? What was you planning coming up? Or was it just
coming out, I knew, well, initially I was just going to go back into my kind of reclusive sort of state, because before, I mean, we don't want to go into it, but there was a lot of paranoia going on within the crew before I left. So it was like, you got to understand, this was a breather for me, being in prison, not dodging bullets and this and that or whatever, to have a bit of time to focus or whatever. But coming out, you know, initially I was still in fear of what was out there for me. And when I'm saying in fear, I'm talking about the road stuff that I was going through. Do you know what I'm saying? Who was still on this, where, or whatever. So when I came out initially, I spent most of my time hidden away. I became a recluse. I stayed in my yard. My brother came to live with me and kind of handled all my business on a day-to-day, and I just wouldn't leave the house. I had a fear of death, like a huge fear of death, and you know, just being in a situation that I'd seen other people be in so many times. So my whole theory was, the less I'm out and the more I'm at home with my family and whatever, then the less chance I've got of getting into anything. So that went on for a while. And then when Bullet Boy come, Saul Dibb, the guy who wrote Bullet Boy, he'd like been writing it for me.
Was he writing it while you was in jail?
He was writing it whilst I was in jail. Like, they had the idea. He hooked up with an author, a lady called Catherine, and they kind of wrote the script together, because he'd originally come from a documentary background. It was his first feature. So they had me in mind. It was just like this whole idea thing, and I come out, I had no agent. Everyone had just kind of dashed me to the curb, bro. So I was in a mind where I was like, F everything, F music, F So Solid, F filming, F this, F that. And then I was presented with that Bullet Boy, which represented my life to a certain extent. And it just felt right. It was the best move I made, really.
Speaking on Bullet Boy, I find that, especially with UK films, there's a big, like, sort of an air about typecasting. So if you've done that role, we're going to get you in every film like that. And you've kind of avoided that, I would say. You've done like the crackhead role, you've done the roadie role, but then you've now gone on to do police role and other roles. How have you done that?
Just being resilient, bruv. Like,
just not having it.
Yeah, I just didn't have it. I think after I did Bullet Boy, I think there was like a year of everything was just like Bullet Boy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Basically, you could have called them that, and it would have been, that's what it would have been. Because everyone, you know, when something's just happened and there's a moment and it was big, everyone was just like, all right, we're making a film like that, we want Ashley Waters. It's stupidly, because why would you want the same person that was in another franchise to be in yours? You want to create another. I mean, and the game was smaller then. Remember, it was at the start of that sort of thing being popular. Before,
was it one of the first, would you say, UK films of that kind?
I think that represented like our culture.
Was Rolling with the Nines out at that time?
Came out just after, I think. Okay. I'm sure it did. Okay. Don't quote me on that, but I think it did. And I was meant to be in Rolling with the Nines as well.
Yeah. Because I feel like there is a go-to from these directors where it's like, okay, we're doing a UK film, we have to call Ashley. But I also feel that you've avoided having to be put into certain roles. So for example, when you look at, is it Another Hood or Killer Hood?
Yeah, Another Hood, yeah.
That role isn't a role you would expect to see you in. at all?
Yeah.
Was that something that you went out of your way to
All conscious decisions. All conscious,
you
yeah.
find that role in some ways?
I didn't find it. It came up and I jumped on it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know how maybe iconic or whatever that it would be, but I knew it was a moment for me, like I said, to follow craft. At the end of the day, it was just about kind of putting myself in certain situations. So I sat down with my agent from an early age. My agent kind of she was very smart when it come to, she was very specific about being a black male actor in the UK. She understood the statistics, you know what I'm saying, how it works and whatever. So she was always like, don't worry, anything you're doing now, these are just building blocks. These are just planting seeds, because you don't, as a black male actor in the UK, you don't come into your own until you're 35. That was the age she said. And it's, no word of a lie, it's happening now, like where I can, like I'm at the age now where I can play a detective and pull it off and whatever.
Say that's age? What is it you've done? Because the reason
it's age with experience though. It's not age, just age. Do you know what I'm saying? If you can go be 50, if no one's taught you how to tie your lace, you can't tie your lace. Simple as. But it's the experience. But you have to have the years to get that experience in this case. Do you know what I'm saying?
Because I feel like the reason I'm labouring on this, I feel like a lot of people get into acting, even though now we have this very common, like there's a comedy route into acting, which I find is very popular. But prior to that, a lot of people, especially young black guys, would probably think, if I'm going to be an actor, I'm going to have to play that kind of role. And I think you're one of the few I can think of, alongside the Idris Elbas, obviously, who have done what you've done without playing bad man.
But it's a hard thing. My wife's going through it now. She played as a female. As a female, it's 10 times harder than a male anyway, especially as a black female in the UK. Even in the States, you still to this day, there's but it's like since Scandal, like now that's been one of the first like female, leading roles, empowered roles. So they're just starting to pick up now. But usually, as a woman, you're just playing someone's wife or someone's gal. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really difficult to get a leading thing about a woman. So Chewing Gum, what my wife did for E4, was one of the first kind of that movement over here. But in that she plays, the hood girl, whatever, and everyone wants her to play that role. And what she knows clearly is if she continues to do that, all very well, she'll clean up, she'll be successful to a certain extent, but she will never progress as an actress herself, as an actor, kind of,
How damaging it is? Like, how damaging would you say it is to do 4 or 5 roles, same kind of bad man?
I think it's very damaging, very damaging. I mean, I have nightmares about Top Boy, because when this has always been my way to gauge. When I walk down the street, what are you gonna call me?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? So when man call me Deshane, I know now I might be in this thing a bit too much. Do you see? This is getting a bit too big, because everything else I've been able to. It doesn't matter what show I've done. I'm Ashley when you see me.
What's the downfall of that? So let's say, for example, looking at Top Boy. Top Boy is a massive program. Obviously, we'll talk about the future plans of it. But let's say it's at that level where it is The Wire. I know it's been compared to that. If you're at that level as an actor, you're in one of the most popular programs. What's the downfall of being known as Deshane?
The downfall is that it's going to be really difficult for you to reinvent yourself in another show. So the longer you do something, like Ian Bill is always...
Let's use power.
No. Adam Woodyard is the best example in the world, bro. I'm telling you, because he's been the longest running character in that show. And just imagine him now being in a show with me or doing one scene in Top Boy. Would you ever be able to look at him as anything other than Ian Bill?
Yeah, you're right.
You'd be so hard if he come on playing a crackhead. He could be doing the best performance in the world. It's Ian. What are you doing? So you stop watching what you're meant to be watching, and now you're watching who he is, why is he there, rather than his performance or whatever. So as an actor, you have to shape-shift a lot, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Why do some do that, would you say? Why do some play that Ian Bill role for a certain amount of time?
Because I don't want to talk for them, but I think they gave up, a lot of them. So some of them, I think, a lot of people are in it now. It's just like, I've seen them do theatre, some banging shows. They're just about gonna get there, but then didn't. Right? You know, Danny Dyer, he's another example. He had like a moment where he was cleaning up or whatever, but then it died down. And I think if someone says to you, all right, here's 10 bags a week for the next 5-6 years, you can buy homes, property, this and that, and you've been struggling for 10 years as an actor, it's very tempting to kind of go and have that stability, and I think that's what happens. But knowing certain terms, I've spoken to people that have been in there. I've got a lot of close friends that have been in and out of EastEnders, and they feel like it's soul draining, man. Do you know what I'm saying?
You've pretty much taken the riskier route, really.
Of course, yeah.
So talking about that, and that leads me on quite well, with the riskier route you've taken, and we had a lot of people sending in questions to ask you, and one of them, I think, it's quite interesting because it's a topic not many people would cover, and it is the financial benefit of acting. And the reason why I think it's interesting is because it's not really spoken much. I think for acting, for rappers, you have more of an idea, musicians, etc. And the debate was, you are pretty much seen as, well, one person was saying you're seen on the same level as an Idris Elba, yeah?
No way.
And, alright, cool.
Not financially.
Alright.
Trust me.
Let's break this down, because it was an interesting debate, and it's one I know a lot of people have. Looking at your brand of who you are and what you've done, you've definitely got achievements that can go side to side with Idris Elba. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, some. Yeah, of course.
So what is it that has differentiated? Is it because you've chose to say no to certain things? What is it what is really the difference in regards to financial success? Not figures, but...
All right, so I think there's a bit of it that involves what I was talking about before, meaning a moment, yeah? All right, so Idris's situation was The Wire, right? The Wire is what he's been grafting for years and years before that. But The Wire, which wasn't that well received even in the States when it would first come on, I don't think. But then was kind of sent over here and then picked up around Europe and whatever, and it went back there and blew. From that success, so him having his initial success in that show, I don't even think a lot of people knew he was from the UK. Yeah, to be fair, people hadn't grown up knowing who he was. That catapulted him to some different thing. But then when they exported him back to us, and he came and did Luther, that was the best thing that he could have ever done. To be fair, because he just broke the mold. Yeah. He did straight away. He did another character. Yeah. He went on the other side of the ropes. He was just one of the most famous, if not the most famous, drug dealer, yeah, in America, in Baltimore, or whatever, the hardest. Yeah. And then he came over and played a detective very well, to the point, that show won all sorts of awards and killed it. So at that point, he was cemented. What he's done after, and what I think he's definitely pushing down the route of producing now and feeding the industry a bit more. But then, I suppose a lot of people would say a lot of the rest of his things have become maybe slightly more mediocre and maybe more marketing and endorsed. But that's going to happen when you're involved with big franchises.
Because what I'm trying to get to is, where is the money in acting? That's just it in a nutshell. Where's the money in acting?
I think the money's in the same place as anything else you do. It's in the property. It's in the intellectual property, man. It's in you owning the bricks and the foundation of what you're doing. So I'm just stepping into that world now. So now I created this show we're executive producers. We own the rights to it. So if America decide to make their own version of it, I get paid from that. You know what I'm saying? So anywhere else in the world, when we sell it to Russia, when I sell it to Europe, I'm getting a cut of all the money. Now, that's where, if you want to know, that's where the money is. Before that point, being paid as an actor was all right. It's nice, but unless you're Will Smith getting 25 mil a movie, you're struggling still, bro. And you speak to most actors, that's the thing. And it's quite hurtful over here because, you get dealt with and treated on the same level as Skepta or whatever, but you don't have the same finances as them people, bruv. Do you know what I'm saying? So you can't, it's a difficult thing, but people are like, when I get on the tube, they're like, what are you doing on the tube?
Because I was going to ask.
I'm like, I use public transport. I've got an Oyster, fam. Because it makes more sense for me. Obviously, I've got a car or whatever, but I ain't driving everywhere, bro. You know what I'm saying? And people just don't get that concept of why are you You know what I'm saying? You should be being driven. Why are you not on private jet? Why are you in economy on the plane? Why are you, you know what I'm saying? Because your levels of what people seeing you do, in their mind, it's like, you're there, fam. But in me, I'm still, you know what I'm saying?
I think it's so good to labour on this because the youth, generally, that's all they're going to see.
Yeah.
So, for example, and I have to ask you this because we would be doing our audience this service. As an actor, have you seen a million?
Yeah. I've way more than that.
I was confident to say that. What does it take for an actor to be a millionaire? There's a difference. So you've seen a million. Obviously, I don't want to pry too much here. Yeah. Are you at a millionaire status now?
No.
Why would you say you're not?
I've done really stupid things with my money, but mainly because I haven't invested enough. Now this is what everyone has to understand. Even like a footballer that's on 150 bags a week, at some point you got to invest your money if you want it to last. And that's what I was saying about owning things and owning the foundation of things. You know what I'm saying? And I haven't done that for years. So I've got spent, boom, bust, boom, bust. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how kind of a lot of people live when it comes to that sort of thing. So now I'm getting money and I'm putting it into the right places. There's the stupid little things. It's like I've only for the last 3-4 years I've had a decent accountant that's given me some solid, sound financial advice. You know what I'm saying? That has helped me and seen returns and whatever. So, but before that point, my mentality wasn't right. So getting back to what we were saying about me, you know, I spent a lot of time going, money ain't enough or whatever. Or I've always had a problem with getting little bits. My wife does this all the time because she got a car wash and then she rents out 2 parking spaces. She runs 2 kids drama schools and then she works at this thing or whatever. And she'll be pulling like, pull her bag out and pull her fifth, whatever, stacking up and whatever. I don't like little money like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm a lump sum guy. You know what I'm saying? I go by the pay me at the end. Do you see what I'm saying? I've got that attitude. Whereas you got to build. You have to take incremental steps.
I think, especially from my environment, we're engraved with, but it's like and I don't mean to typecast with the race, but it's like the quote unquote the Jews or the Asians. They will, every penny does count. £10 a week is still £10 a week.
Exactly.
But to us, it's like that's £10.
It's not enough. Man, I'll wait for the £40 a month. That's the £10 a week, innit? Stupid.
Sure, we're gonna have to cut and change tape.
Yeah, it's cool. No worries, man.
All right, cool. The reason why I think that's important is we've had a lot of guests down here, and not many have really. I mean, we haven't delved into the financial part of it, and I think for someone looking at your role, which a lot of people are acting, especially we found just from today, putting it out on our social medias, is something everyone wants to be doing now. And I think it's key for them to understand how important that financial management is and how to get yourself to that level. How this debate started was, well, he's done films with 50 Cent. And he said 50 Cent bought him So just to obviously go on a bit further, so again, we're not up to Top Boy, but we're past Bullet Boy now. Bullet Boy financially as a success, does that affect you a lot as a star of it or not so much?
No. No, at all. Like I said, you as an actor, people really have to understand. Like that's why you really have to love acting, because the glamour is fake. It's not. You know what I'm saying? It's not what it actually is. So when, even in like Bullet Boy, I am not the main person on that set. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm a pawn. I am, you know, what they are, the production company are using to portray their story. Do you see what I'm saying? So I get paid to come in for work, but I have no.
But it looks like to someone it's your film.
Yeah, exactly. But I have no ownership of the movie or whatever, unless I write it, unless I come up with the idea. Do you know what I'm saying? Unless I'm producing it, unless I'm behind the scenes in that sense. So at some point as an actor, you see there's a lot of actors like that just don't get involved in that side of things, but some of them can, because like I said, they're getting huge amounts of money per movie, or they just don't ever do it. But like for me, acting has never been where I've wanted to stop. I've always clearly understood that it's not the pinnacle for me. I'm slightly more creative than that. I feel like I can create things that people want to watch. You know what I'm saying?
What
just giving away everything, man. I want, right now I want my own channel. I want my own channel and a studio, a film studio. Sort of a Tyler Perry sort of situation over here in the UK. String of films, you know, just that are coming from the quality camp, and I think we need a hub for content over here that is respected. Do you know what I'm saying? And not just on a social media platform. Like, I love all that stuff and whatever, and I fully respect it, but I don't understand why we don't have our BET here, or, you know what I'm saying, or something like that. I just don't get it. And I know that there's a market for it, you know, and it has to be the right content. And I think like I can facilitate that. I think I can toe the line between it being, you know, very ghetto and black and appealing to the masses, if you know what I'm saying. And I think that's kind of what I've been doing for years, is kind of towing the line where white people and black people watch my product. So I think there should be a channel that represents and respects the culture as well as taking it to the next level. I want to encourage young black writers, directors or whatever to come and step up to that platform as well, because most people I meet that write to writers, like, they'll come up to me and they, bro, I've got a film, you know. So my man dies and then everyone wants to go on revenge. You know what I'm saying? So it gets sticky, fam. And it's like, it's all very well, because a lot of them are their stories. And your first story is always going to be closest to your heart, I believe. Like your first album, you're never going to make a better album than your first album, because that's been your blood, sweat and tears trying to get in the game. So it's the same with your first thing. But I'm more encouraging people these days to come up with some more innovative ideas that samples the culture, that uses the culture. We can have grand music in there, but make it about a superhero. Or, you know what I mean? Do something like, why we should be having our own Marvel and generating our own things like that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, Black Panther shows you alone. That Black Panther thing that's coming out, my brethren Daniel Kaluuya's in it. You got Forrest Whitaker, you got Letitia's in there. Like, these are all people, you know, they started in Top Boy, Royal Court, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. Like, we need to be pushing the boundaries, you know what I'm saying, a bit more. And I think the industry will be happy if we leave it as, you know, this is black film sort of thing. Like, this is where, you watch the black film, like that sort of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, what it needs to do now, we need to just all merge together somehow. You know what I'm saying? Because everything, like music culture at the moment, dominated. Listen to Capital Extra. You hardly hear.
Why would you say that is, from your perspective?
Because it's fully being bought now, and also as well, if looking at my kids and how they've grown up, you know, they've taken it even further than us. You know, they don't see colour, do they? They don't see colour. So if you watch now, like, I don't really see Roadman no more. If you want to, you know what I'm saying? You know, like, meaning most people or most kids I see, they're quite entrepreneurial in how they're thinking. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? They're quite business minded and understanding, like, you know, it's not, the first thing is not to pick up drugs now and shot, or, do you know what I'm saying? You know, that kind of idea is changing, and a lot of people are looking on those people that are doing that like, you waste, man. Like, why you people, you know what I'm saying? Like, why you, obviously there's still a thick group of people that are still fully into the road life. But it's cool to be on bricklaying, you know, in skinny jeans, no socks, loafers, trilby. You know what I'm saying? It's cool now, fam. It's all right. No one's gonna look at you like you're an idiot or you're soft or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think that whole thing is changing, and as well as that, like, a lot of the young white kids, you can't tell no more where they grown up or whatever. They talk just like the black kids talk just like them. Like, it's all just merging into one. So when I went out to it was the rooftop above KFC in Brixton. Me and Swiss did a gig there the other day, and it was one of the first times I've been out properly in a while. And I looked at Swiss in the club and I said, really? I felt like Martin Lawrence when he come out of prison in Life. You know the movie when the governor takes him out to pick up the next guy, and he's like, bruv, I couldn't understand. I hardly saw any black people in the rave. And this is a proper grime, underground, old school, garage, gut. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it just shows you, bruv, like, culture has immersed everything. So I don't know that period of time seems to be over now, maybe where, you know, like with Soul Solid, when parents were fighting to get our CDs out of their kids' hands.
Yeah, it's definitely changed.
It's changed. It's the opposite now, fam. They're middle class people. They didn't want our music playing. We were getting debated in the House of Parliament, and Tony Blair was like, Soul Solid, no.
Now Stormzy's probably in the house.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. I'm seeing man outside 10 Downing Street that I know shouldn't be outside 10 Downing Street. I'm not going to mention no names. And they know themselves, you know what I'm saying? And they know I'm not disrespecting them, but I'm proud of them, you know what I'm saying? But it just shows like how far man's come. So like it's black culture is very heavily sought after now. And it's just for us to kind of package it and market it in a way that is going to have longevity, you get me, and kind of take us to the next level with it, bro.
What's your views on the way that digital media has changed everything? I was going to say active, but everything. So, for example, your Netflix is now basically your TV, your YouTube is basically your TV, radios are non-existent. It's now everything could be streamed, or you can watch it back. You don't have to be there in the moment. How do you feel that's affected acting? For example, everyone now watches things on Netflix.
It's affecting it it's gonna affect it in a way that we all don't know about yet. We've got loads more to come to understand, but I think it's going in the direction of what music had to go through with Spotify and the new iTunes situation or whatever. They're kind of getting into that. I mean, even down to how we put out the packages now. I heard Drake the other day talking about capsule or something, or playlist, and then next man's calling their album capsule instead of album now, and this and that, because the way it's consumed is just completely different. Even with this Sky show I'm doing, I think they're just gonna put out the 6 eps on demand, so you can watch it when you want to watch it. Now it's gonna be one of the first times I think that's happened. They did it with Idris Elba's thing, Gorilla, or whatever. So they're just working on new ways, because no one don't want to have to wait now to next Thursday to watch something or whatever. So, you lose people's attention and this and that. But then how does that result in how many people watch my show? Then how do we work that out now or whatever? So it's all becoming new. It's new to the industry. But without a doubt, they're always, if we're evolving, so will they be, probably at a faster rate. So now what that means is the way I go into negotiating deals now has to be different as well. And also, what's started to come into play is your social media standing, your influence and whatever, as well as what you take into the room when you're
attentive to that, i.e. your brand online. Is that something you focus on?
Not as much as I should, Not as much as I should. I get offers probably on a daily basis for people like, let me take over the thing, bruv, because you're not doing it properly or whatever. My kids say the same thing, like, you don't know how to do social media, Dad, or whatever. But for now, I'm calm. But I do think there's going to be a moment where I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to start paying someone to advise me on the way to go, because it's starting to bring in the revenue now. You know what I'm saying? Just having an Instagram is making me money per month. So it'd be stupid not to focus on it and refine what it is that is bringing that money in.
You'll be surprised as well the amount of opportunities you could get with the health and fitness. Just from you jogging every morning, that is effective.
Well, that as well, yeah. I mean, so, you've spoken to Paula, one of the people I put you in contact with. But my team, I've just put together like one of the most amazing teams of people that have had so much influence in the game for over the last 20 years. And I've got certain doors open for me that, hopefully it's going to change the game, and I could maybe be able to inspire some people when it comes to how they should go about what their business model should be. Do you know what I'm saying? When it comes to doing certain things, because I think the door's wide open. But what you were saying about the power changing. It's definitely happening. So, you know, I know people like big corporate companies that are in retail, food, clothing or whatever, are investing in movies now.
Definitely.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could pretty much go to a lot of different people and get your projects made. So yeah, it's changing, but it's changing for the better. But it is scary, and there is parts of the game that have been nullified by the internet, bro. It's good and bad. You know that anyway. It's been good and bad in music. It's good and bad just in life in general. I'm sure at some point we will discuss that.
Definitely. All right, cool. So bringing it forward a little bit. I mean, obviously you was one of the, I would say, early UK artists to do a massive American film with someone like 50 Cent. That was very inspirational to any youth coming up at the time. Firstly, how the hell did that even happen? Like, how did you even build that connection?
It was natural. I never knew 50 before that movie. Obviously, I knew of who 50 Cent was. It was a vibe, but basically the director is a guy called Jim Sheridan. He made a movie called My Left Foot with Daniel Day-Lewis. Do you know who he is? He's a serious actor. If none of you know who Daniel Day-Lewis is, go and Google him or just watch some of his movies. He was in Gangs of New York. Okay. Like the lead mad guy in that.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of things. Yeah.
That film, but I've never followed him on anything.
Yeah. He's like, I think he's like one of the best, probably in the world, when it comes to method acting. So he did his first movie, My Left Foot, with Jim Sheridan. Jim Sheridan is an Irish director. And then, I don't know how Jim and 50 hooked up, but you know, 50 wanted to make a movie of his life. He ended up getting Jim attached as director. Jim had just seen Bullet Boy. So it was luck, do you know what I'm saying? He just kind of watched the movie, keeping up to date with what's going on. And then and they kind of called my agent, was like, would like to see him. So I kind of went in to see him, sat in a room pretty much same size as this, with Jim and his assistant. They sent me some lines before. I actually initially went up for the part of that Terrence Howard played. Okay. Yeah, Bama. Like, yeah. So I kind of learnt my lines the night before, everything, got in there. And my man was just like, throw the paper away, rap. I know you're in So Solid, rare. So I was like, all right, cool. And then my man, he come up to me, he's like, touching my face and that, you know, them ones like, this is the director. Yeah. Like, he's like, right, you got brilliant cheekbones. Right? So automatically I'm like, this is fake. You know, one of them ones like fake casting. Yeah. My man's gonna try to give me his number or something. You know, one of them ones like, this is some, I don't even want to say. I can't even say certain things. You know it. Yeah. So I was looking to leave. Yeah. But he was like, no, spit some bars. I heard you're in a crew or whatever. So I was like, all right, cool. So I spat some bars. I can't remember what bars I spat to the camera. And went home. He was like, cool. So I didn't read or whatever. So I kind of left disappointed. Like, they didn't read the lines or whatever, so they're not interested. And I think between 6 months to a year, my agent called me and was like, pack your bags. You're flying to Canada next week for Get Rich or Die Trying. So I was like, what? I thought he'd done and gone. Yeah. I'd gone back, if I'm honest with you, I'd gone back to the roads, but I was doing other stuff. So I was like, that opportunity had left me, do you know what I'm saying? I was kind of like, and I was quite disappointed about it. So I was kind of I was back into the mode of feeding family and just getting on with it and what the next casting would be. But yeah, so I literally flew out there. When I got there, they realized that I couldn't film in New York because of my visa status, because I obviously recently just had the whole firearm charge. So they put me up in Canada for 3 weeks and wouldn't let me touch a film set. So I spent every day going back and forth with the legal team to the embassy. And the minute they got my visa vouched for, then they let me start filming. But initially, I could have got sent home several times because like the lawyers and whatever. It was touch and go, bro. I was sitting in a hotel in limbo for 3 weeks. And yeah, so meeting 50, bro, was just like, it was amazing because literally I'd been listening to him in prison the whole time. His come up, reading his stories in the source about how he got shot, this, that, whatever. So, and like, and there was moments then where I was like, I know I will meet this guy. You know what I'm saying? One day, like I knew the energy was right or whatever. And yeah, it just so happened that it worked out that way. And when I met him the first time, man, I just realized like nothing's what it seems. Like he's a hard driven guy, but he's one of the nicest people you meet. You know what I'm saying? And he's a very, very, very good businessman. Very astute, man. Very on this thing, bro. Like I know because he comes across like he jokes around too much or whatever, but yeah, but there's a heavy method, and I was privileged to watch. A lot of the time,
regular, like, was you with him? Like, a lot of people, they do films with people, and then you ask them, and they're sort of like, I didn't even really get to meet him much.
No, if you watch Get Rich or Die Trying, pretty much every scene, my scene is with 50, some way. But yeah, so I was with him like a lot of the time, on and off set, because our birthdays was around the same time, party together, eating Mr. Chow's together. Like we was up and down, bro. And it was just weird for me. In the beginning, it was crazy, bro. I nearly did get sacked within my first week. Like the director pulled me to the side and was like, "All I can see you doing is this," because that's what I spent my day doing, bro. Because it would be lunchtime and Eminem would just walk on set. Like, yo, fit? And then Jimmy Iovine behind him, and then we go out to dinner, and Lloyd Banks would just turn up, Tony Ayo. You know what I'm saying? It was just like Mobb Deep, this, that, like people were just around, bruv, like just for fun, like, man. And for me, that was my first experience of America and that sort of thing. I'd only watched it before, so it was like, raw, this was crazy. So I spent most of my first days on set scared to talk. Because you're in the presence of greatness, fam. You feel like, I don't want to say a line and it's wrong or whatever. And a lot of it was improvised.
You're the only English actor as well.
I was the only English actor.
How did you find that, being on the set? Do you care? Is it something that you noticed?
I cared a lot then. Yeah. I wouldn't care now. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying about experience, confidence and whatever. I wouldn't care now. But then I was in awe. The guy literally was like, I've seen Bullet Boy, I've seen what you've done, but if you don't, like, wake up, I'm gonna have to send you home. I went back to my trailer, I cried, bro. I remember I called my mum on my BlackBerry, rinsing out the money on the thing, you know what I'm saying? Out there on a hustle, like, Mom, man. She was like, listen, fix up, you ain't fucking coming home. Hey, you come back here, I'll disown you. You know them ones? So I was like, raw, can't let the family down, so I just had to fix up, but I went through some. My dad passed away whilst I was filming that, innit? So he came out. He was out there with me for 2 weeks, and then the day he flew back, he died. He caught pneumonia on the plane and whatever, and I was still like heavily through filming, but loved it.
How did you? Again, I know it's probably like one of the hardest topics to speak about, but how did you deal with that being on set? Because I think that's a big challenge. It's like your graft, your money, your bag, but there's some real shit happening.
Bro, it was devastating, man. It was terrible. Like, yeah, just the levels of it was nuts because my dad was very, very obviously ill. But it was so beautiful because I'd been doing this acting thing for time, and it was the first job I could show people, like, it was worth me doing it. A lot of my family at that point were like, you ain't doing nothing. Yeah. They weren't seeing anything that, some people, it takes a lot for them to go like, rah, you're actually doing this thing. I thought I'd done loads of TV work. I'd been like, you know what I'm saying, prime time, this, that, or whatever. But for some people, it just ain't enough until you're standing next to Will Smith or you know what I'm saying? It's just not enough for them. Like, so when my dad came over and he saw that was what I've been searching for my whole relationship with him, was for him to be proud of me, sort of thing. So to see it on his face, he come into my apartment. They put me up like in some big apartments. J-Lo was next door to me, Ben Affleck. You know, it's just like I was living good, fam. They got me a car. You know what I'm saying? My money was big. The bag was big every week, fam. So I felt proper. And my dad came over and I would pay for his flight. I was supporting him, whatever. For the first time, we were having that bond as men. Do you know what I'm saying? And he came, but he was very, very ill. And I took him out. And he met 50. You know what I'm saying? They bust joke every day, this, that, whatever. So it was a shame, man. Like, we just started to get to know each other. But I did a brilliant thing. It was the most therapeutic thing I've ever done. I had the initiative to film him every day that he was there. And I just wrapped him up in this scenario. In the evenings, I put the camera on the tripod. I sat behind the camera, gave him brandy. He sent me out for weed all the time. He had lung cancer, and this guy would be like, "Where's the weed, fam, man?" He's buying big splish and that. And I just sit behind the camera going, "So where was you when I was young? Why did you?"
Only you've not put that anywhere. That's just for you.
No, I've got that. Yeah. Well, I haven't actually got it. It's a long story, but it's there. And yeah, bruv, it was amazing to sit down and hear what this guy had gone through, just to understand where your power comes from. Do you know what I'm saying? Who you are. I'd never had those conversations. I know your dad he's been proper in your life, so, but I never had that experience. So to me, the guy was like a stranger until that point. You know what I'm saying? And I always used to wonder, like, I couldn't imagine not being around my youths. So what made you do that? And he had some compelling stories that made me realize, you know, you cannot judge someone. Everyone goes through their own shit, man. He was in care, he was in foster care, he was, you know what I mean? He was in Borstals from early. Just had a shit start. But he had mad love for me, and I didn't know, but he showed it. So that was an amazing thing. But at that point, I became a beast on that film set.
After that?
Oh, yeah. I was like, oh, yeah. The power was great, you know what I'm saying? I just felt mad. So it just went from strength to strength at that point. They were adding me into more scenes. The part became bigger and whatever. So I felt really good, man.
So off of the back of that film, obviously you went on to do, I don't know, was it connected that you did Dead Man? Was that connected?
Kind of, yeah. It was kind of that link, me kind of doing that with him because it was Rio, Ferdinand, Ashley Cole,
that's right,
and Picky, the guy who did Rolling with the Nines, and C and that, that invested in the movie. So, but it just, you know, it made it all that better when they hollered at him that he just worked with me and whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? So he knew what the levels were, and so it's good. It was good to reconnect with him, and I think I don't know whether the best thing that came out of that was the movie or I made a song with 50 Cent. And yeah, no one ain't ever heard it. I've got that still. It's on YouTube, slightly somewhere like clips of it. But you know what he did recently? He brought out a mixtape called Kanan. Mixtape. He put it on there. He threw it on there randomly, yeah. So if you check that out, if no one's heard it.
I was going to say, do you still have a relationship with him?
I haven't spoken to him in years. Literally, the guy used to holler at me like mobile, direct, or whatever. But I haven't spoken to him in probably, I'd say about 3 years or something like that. 2 years, 3 years.
Cool. So around that time, there was obviously a lot of hype, especially around the Ashley Waters brand. Like Ashley Waters is in Get Rich or Die Trying, and then obviously Dead Man Running. I know there was a few things in between then as well. I always get mixed up. Another Hood or Kidulthood that you was in? Another Hood,
yeah.
And I know all those films, they all just added to the profile massively. And then for me, again, I may be wrong, but how I saw it is you sort of went quiet for a bit after that, and then just came bang with Top Boy. So before we get on to that, obviously anyone who's watching this, we know that our followers, all they want to speak about is Top Boy. Obviously, as I said to you off camera, Ash, we had a bit of a, if you've got a question for Ashley Waters, let us know. And everyone Literally
Me
every
like a
word.
fool, I retweet, I
I think you
re-insta
make it
it.
worse.
Yeah,
You
I
then
know.
sent them to us. Like we've been trying to get.
Yeah,
him
now I
today,
put the
but
finger
because
like,
you
don't
got him-
DM me.
Yeah. Because you got him today. Because you this. So obviously, Top Boy, massive program. I'm a massive fan. And the rest of the team are massive fans of that program. Groundbreaking, man. I feel like there was no program. You said something earlier that I agree with, and it's like in the UK, I don't even want to use a colour, just in the UK, we often do things that just lack a bit of quality and execution. I feel like the ideas are brilliant.
Yeah.
I feel like the concepts are great, the setup's great, but the execution. And I found when I watch these things, it's like I almost think like, and I'm not even into films.
Yeah.
So I know someone who is would think that. Top Boy seemed to be, in my opinion, the best execution of a UK production, I would say. And that's obviously something that you should definitely be proud of because the actors in it were a big part of that and it was very, very authentic. So how did that come about? How did that whole show start? How did you get involved in that?
Started through, I got the script sent to me by Channel 4 and Cowboy. Initially we thought it was just another, hood, whatever you want to call it. But delving deeper into it, I think this is what people fail to understand. It is about, like, with film and TV especially, it's about all the components. So a lot of new filmmakers, a lot of blind filmmakers, because we have, I call them blind only because, no disrespect, but they come out and go, I can make a film by myself.
Okay.
You can't. No one can make a movie by yourself. You can't make a movie by yourself. You can't make a TV show by yourself. You can't make a web series by yourself. So what you need to be doing is delegating to people that are more experienced in different fields. Now, this is not to say, like, if you're a DOP, a DP, director of photography, you might have only been one for a year, but you're a better one than me as a director. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But there's a lot of there's a lot of men that try and do everything. I'm doing sound, I'm doing this. No, you have to delegate to the best people around you. And I think that's where a lot of things, quality-wise, fall short. So I watch a lot of TV, web series and stuff. They're not even edited properly. Yeah, people, you see they're getting hits and that. And people are watching them because those people don't understand. But there's a general geography when watching something that your eye naturally follows. That is what a DP is for. People don't understand the depths of that. So crossing the line is peak, bruv, sometimes. You watch someone's show and the camera's like bang, 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 bang. And you're like, what room is this guy in? This don't even make no sense no more. And some people don't even know.
I was going to say, most people probably don't.
Yeah, but they know it don't make sense. They know it's weird. But they don't know why, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. But there's technical things that have to be followed and understood that will take, even if you're using your phone, I can shoot something on my iPhone now that will look good just because the way I shot it and the shots I use. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people don't understand it. So it is about, it's about like bringing up those levels. What I was saying to you before about nurturing, like getting people that are brilliant writers, that have got brilliant writing idea, but just tightening them up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and it's shameless plug, but that's what I do at my acting school at Kingdom. That's what it's all about. Like, you don't come through those doors, pay your money, and things we see that you ain't that good at, we're gonna help you to get better at those things. You know what I'm saying? And put the right people around you. So don't ever think I'm gonna teach you how to act. I couldn't teach myself. Do you see what I'm saying? I just do it. I don't know really the ins and outs of it or whatever, but there's brilliant people that I know that have been doing it for the greatest actors for years that I will hire to come and help you do that. And then I can mentor you about the ins and outs of when it goes right and wrong or whatever, but the technical side of it, you go and find the people that can come and facilitate that. And that's what it's about, man.
Was that, how was that executed on Top Boy? Was that something you had a part in, or did it happen to just be a good team?
What they was doing? I think I did have a part in my part. Kano had a part in his part, like.
And was it always written for you two?
And the scripts are always fully written in Top Boy, but we deviate from the scripts a lot. This is what I'm saying. So Ronan is, he's a white man, middle-aged white man, but has various connections to certain things I can't go into, but when he came to Hackney, he was around the right people for this job.
Okay.
So his friendships are really strongly cemented with the community and with, you know, the OGs and the ends. So which gave him pure access to all of the youngers and to whoever. So he researched for a good year and a half, like for that show. He went in deep and took real stories, do you know what I'm saying, that people had gone through and whatever, and kind of put them into that story. So initially reading the script, when I read it, I rang my agent, I was like, yeah? Like, are you serious though? Because if you're serious, it's a goer, I'm on it. Yeah. Because no one's ever written anything like this before. And furthermore, no one's written something like that before and had it filmed and put on TV.
So again, this might be naive, but I don't know much about acting. Do you see it for the whole series? For when you read it, is the whole story done?
No, it's just like, in some cases it can be. Okay. But I think we had the first two on that one. Sometimes you have one script, you start filming, they start writing while you're filming, watching how you are as a character. Yes, I think we had the first two we knew when we started. They had the ideas and the guideline for the other two, but hadn't actually written them yet. And obviously, depending on how strong you are performing, how, you know what I mean, when they're looking at it, they'll write more for you, maybe write less, change things or whatever to adapt to how you're feeling out that character. So, but I mean, the main elements for Top Boy was Jan Demange. He was like the initial director. Now he was kind of a new director. He's Algerian, but had grown up with the man them. So he had, you know what I mean, he was quite young. I think he was like mid-30s at the time or something, or early 30s at the time. And had like a clear understanding of our language, our thing or whatever, even though he weren't directly from there, but he understood it. So he became like a buffer in between the writer and producers. You didn't have really too much, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, he could pass down what they wanted to us in a way that we understood it. So if you know Jan, you will know he don't hold back. He's one of them. There's certain scenes. There's scene, example I always use, the scene where in the first season at the end where I shoot my man by Battersea Power Station, and he thinks I'm going to give him back the gun. I shoot him in the head. Like, a few of the takes when I've gone to do the shot, like just certain faces I've made or whatever, because you know sometimes you're waiting for the thing to go off, but it's not going off. You know, you're like squinting or whatever. But Jan would be like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Bruv, your face, fam, what's wrong with you? Like, bruv, you're moving like a dick, you know, like, and just talking to you on a real set, like, just from it was live. It was live.
Why is it that it's so hard to recreate that? Like, for example, when you look at the films that have been put out, again, no disrespect to any of the films, they're all contained in their own way, but it doesn't seem like anyone's ever able to capture that authenticity.
But that's what I'm saying. It's the excuse me. It's the formula. Gee, I thought I was gonna dead. It's the formula, bro. It's like what I was saying about Jan, the director. So him kind of having enough knowledge of the street and understanding it or whatever, and enough knowledge of the film world, just coming out of film school. Do you know what I'm saying? To be able to bridge the gap. Then Des Hamilton, he was our casting director. Des casts in a different way to other people. He doesn't go to Spotlight or whatever. Des will just walk down the street.
It's like the ingredients that are put in from behind the scenes are so important.
Exactly. So we're just, you know, if you just go with the script, like, well, go on, man. Yeah, cool, or whatever. I'm telling you now, it'll sound bait, even though it's what we actually say. It's still bait. There has to be some, you know, the lighting's got to be right. The music, if you listen to the music in Top Boy, we did not go with just grime and rap music or whatever. We actually we had it scored. Yeah, I was going to say you had so we had it scored properly. So that heightened certain things or whatever. If everyone would know, I'm telling you now, I go in the edit sometimes. You watch something without music. Dead!
Yeah, of course.
Dead! Oh my God, I've seen some scenes I've done without the music, like, oh my God, that was bad acting. But when the music's been flung on it or whatever, it's the emotional.
Are you allowed to be there in the edit stage of a program like Top Boy?
Probably with Top Boy, I'd get away with it. I have gotten away with it. But then there's a lot of other things. They're quite precious. Like, you know, like I said to you, you come, you perform the work, you've done your job, you've been paid for it. You have no more rights to it, nothing. It's a buyout. Bye. We're going to do what we want with this thing now. Some things you can, if you develop that relationship with the right people, but genuinely, it's like, when it comes on, that's you. You have a look at it then. So it depends who you are. Like, now I can probably, I'll ask, but I'll ask for different reasons. Like, all right, they're sending me on BBC Breakfast News to do an interview, so I need to see the show. So I know what I'm talking about. I did it a year ago, slightly, like, so now I can watch it now. You know what I'm saying? But to just say, to demand, you know, I must have first refusal of the edit or whatever, that ain't happening. You know, they'll throw all the maddest parts in there. I watch certain things back, I'm like, my wife's like, why did you make that face? Why did you do that? I'm like, I didn't even know I was doing it. But me, personally, I would have taken all that out. But I suppose then that is what makes the performance what it is having those little nuances.
Well. Huh? As an actor, I guess you kind of sign up to knowing that once you've done your part. It's
over, it's gone. You no control.
So Top Boy had a massive effect on just the culture, just full stop. Like, I could say that in a sentence and everyone will understand what I mean. And obviously we've had a large demand of pressure for another season. I'm assuming that's something you still welcome, you're still happy about that. It's someone the show that you're in. But how have you sort of dealt with all these politics, man? Like, I've seen other interviews that you spoke about, like the back and forth and the contracts and the disestablishment and the Channel 4s and the so-and-so. So what has been going on that you can tell us, and how have you dealt with that?
Well, from start, we started writing season 3 of Top Boy for Channel 4, which was its original home. And I actually had done a deal with Channel 4. And then they decommissioned, they just stopped the commission. I don't know the ins and outs of the politics of what actually happened, but I know there was a lot of restructuring going on at Channel 4. The lady that had originally commissioned us left and was replaced. And when anyone, you know, if a new CEO comes into a company, they ain't trying to use the last person's shit. They always want to, like, well, we're going to make an impact here and change it up. So Top Boy was a casualty, because at that point, you know, Channel 4 never, people don't understand that they move by ratings, Channel 4 never, I think their biggest ratings are usually like between 2 mil, 2.5 or something like that of them lines, compared to ITV or BBC of 10 million or whatever for their main show. So you see the difference in levels. So they're not competing, do you see what I'm saying, in that sense? And I think Channel 4 want to now compete on that level. So the type of show that they make, they want to change. So they become, if you notice, they become a lot more reality based. There's a lot more mainstream dramas on there. Whereas Channel 4 originally was the home for ethnic minorities, really, to tell their story. Black people's shows and disabled people's shows and whatever. They always pioneered that sort of thing. But I think in this new day and age with Netflix, other platforms or whatever, they have to compete at a different level. So I think Top Boy was the first casualty of that. Anyway, it was too late for Top Boy to be shut down, because at that point, Netflix were picking it up. And so it was doing the rounds kind of in Europe, and then it hit the States and North America, which is obviously where Drake clocked onto it. And Drake had obviously heavily been involved in our culture anyway, at that point. So, you know, he's a fan of the music and a fan of the culture anyway. So he was watching things. And then I just got a random call out of the blue. I'm not gonna lie, bro. My phone rang. Someone saying, Drake would like to talk to you or some crap like that. And then, I spoke to his manager via text and then phone conversation. And I spoke to him. And he was just like, you know, we're determined that he's watched everything, and he's watched a few different things, Bullet Boy, this, that, whatever. He's done his research, and he understood how hard it is to break in America, especially him coming from Canada or whatever. And when he sees people trying to do the thing, but you know, he will try and help facilitate or whatever. So he's
How
backing
do
it.
you feel about that?
Listen, I was so gassed. I was in a car going to my mother-in-law's with my kids, my eldest kids. And
When you got the Drake call?
yeah. And so, mate, I felt good, man. I felt good. And the kids are kind of like a loudspeaker and all that, you know what I mean? Nah. But yeah, now the kids were like, wow, that's a good look. And yeah, I was happy, I was proud, but I was finally happy, well, that I felt that I was being recognized.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like I'd been doing a lot of work and very rarely get like a, you know, an industry kind of recognition. But
Why do you think that is?
I don't demand them. A lot of actors demand them, you believe it or not. There's a lot of people that go out there and like, I deserve a BAFTA this year. Yeah. And they get people out there hustling and whatever. But me personally, I've always just had the attitude of, you know what I mean? I'm like a kid. You know, I should be seen and not heard too much. So
Are the awards important to you?
yeah, I think they are. I think they mean as much as, you know, you see that the hard work that you've been putting in is being noticed. Because for a lot of us, like this game is, first of all, a lot of us are very insecure. So validation is good. You know what I'm saying? Like, man need to be told every now and again, like, you're doing proper, you're doing really well. That's why I value it. There's a lot of good friends I have around me that will do that randomly, do you know what I'm saying? To just make you realize, because the stress that comes along with this, like the other side that people don't see, is immense, man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The struggle to be someone, you know what I mean, that you're not a lot of your life and never really get to be yourself is a hard thing to deal with emotionally. You take home a lot of baggage. So it's good to just be recognized and for people to go, you know, to get those accolades, to get that pat on the back. And it motivates you to just keep pushing forward, because a lot of it is just no, and crap. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
Would you say acting is harder than music?
Oh, 100%. 100%. In music, you can, you know, it's instant validation, it's instant gratification.
But is that based on, obviously it can only be based on your experience, but let's say, for example, because music for you kind of picked up quite quickly, would you say that's fair?
Quicker than most, yeah, definitely.
But would you, let's look at generally artists that it's not the same for them, and then look at acting, would you still stick with that statement that acting's harder?
Yeah, I would, because, well, I don't know, maybe it's me, me being slightly judgmental, but I just feel like when I was doing music, it was just overly natural to me, every part of it. So my music was my music genre. If you've grown up listening to country music and you make country music, there's not many days you're going to go in the studio that it's like a challenge, like you're going to do grime. Yeah. I've never done it before. Whereas when I act, most days I'm doing something different. Okay. Most days you know what I'm saying? I'm playing various different people, some of which I've never known really in real life or never understood. You know what I mean? I spent like last year, I did 6 months of going up for the Sam Cooke biopic. They're making a biopic of Sam Cooke, the singer, the American singer. I had to embody this guy for 6 months, bro. Like, listen to all his interviews, obviously the accent, learn all his songs, his speech pattern, how he holds his tongue in his mouth. You know what I'm saying? Things he says regularly, things he don't, how he holds his hand when he's singing, whatever. I had to become that person in order to try and get that job. Yeah. I don't think musicians go through that. Okay. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I think it is very, very hard to kind of to get to that place, you know what I'm saying, where you can do that freely and naturally. Leonardo DiCaprio, Danny Day-Lewis or whatever, you watch those sort of people, they're at the stage now where that's nothing to them. It's probably like making a song, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Cool. So the killer question, because we're not gonna get out of there without asking you, is when is the next Top Boy, or when is Top Boy coming? Yeah,
I don't even know why you wasted your time asking that question. It's better you ask your dad. I'll tell your dad before I tell you, fam. Trust me.
We're gonna get spammed if we don't ask, so at least
Listen,
They won't tell us anything.
I can tell you what I'm allowed to tell you, and that is that with all of our heart, with all of our determination and our power, we are going to try and get Top Boy back on our screens. That's all I can say. Drake, as much as people like to hate on him when he says anything about Top Boy or whatever, I'd say stop doing that, because this guy has been pioneering and fighting this battle, yeah, for us. Do you know what I'm saying? Technically, because it's not big in the States like that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Let me interject you there, because I think this is why people would hate, and I want to see what the facts are. A lot of, because I think it's a brilliant thing regardless. I don't necessarily look at it and think, oh, he's trying to steal the culture, the stereotypes that you hear. I understand why people say that. Is there a financial gain for him to help? Is there something that could make him helping selfish, or would you say, no, not really?
I'd say there's a financial gain, but I wouldn't call that selfish. Why is that selfish, man? Being a businessman. Like, come on. Like, if it's not Drake, there's some other producer that none of you guys know that's gonna sit there and take the same money. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, why not have someone that is, like, he's passionate about the show. He loves the show, and what he wants to do is produce the show. It's all he's doing. He's being a middleman. I know, but I think it's also to do with people not understanding how the game works as well. Like, that Drake person is behind everything that you watch. There's someone there that really and technically isn't doing that much, but is eating off the culture or whatever. Don't think, you know, the Hirachis you were came from the ends, then went there and then was sold back to you. Do you see what I'm saying? So what we're trying to do is, the more people like that, like, you know, Drake trying to pioneer and be in those positions of power or whatever, the more chance we've got of pushing this industry forward for us. Do you know what I'm saying? In that sense. So people should, I just hate the way, like, I watch, there's certain things that come out, you know, the papers went mad with, he's gonna be in it, he's moving to London to get into the character, and now this and that, and all that rubbish that people talk, but the way people slaughtered, man, on the internet, I just thought, rah, he's the only guy that's been standing up going, Top Boy needs to come back. Your own English companies haven't even been saying that. But when I was saying to them, before Drake got on it, I was saying, let's do Top Boy, we can make a movie out of this, you know how big it is, whatever. They were going, no, sorry, we've moved on to something else. No. So it's where he came and got the light back on it. People need to respect that, man. I fully respect that, so.
No, I like that. So there is, well, Top Boy 3 is potentially going to happen. So
we want it to happen, yeah, definitely.
Cool. So we can put a lid on that. Now, fast track a bit more to where we are now. Along the way, somewhere in there, 8 children occurred. So
Yeah.
something we can't skip past. You're very much well known for being a father, a proud father at that. A big family man. I asked you off on camera, what's your motivation right now? The first thing you said was your family. So yeah, I mean, the importance of family to you has definitely taken toll, especially as of the last few years. I would say anyway, maybe it's because of social media and stuff. But 8 kids, bro, like how we got there, but was this on the plan? Was this always like...
No, never planned. To be fair, none of my kids have been planned. You could say they have been planned because I weren't unplanning them. Do you know what I'm saying? If you know what I mean? But it's about
you had the final answer.
yeah. But yeah, 8 kids. Yeah, it started. It started, and I don't know whether it's finished yet. To be fair, but my wife every 3 days is like, we could do that. We could do. And I look at her like, yeah, love, yeah.
How has it affected the hustle? I think that's the first one I definitely want to know. Like, has it slowed it down? Has it sped it up?
I thought it slowed me down, but I think I was hustling in the wrong places. That's all. I was, time wasting hustling. I think now what I've learned to do is like, when I'm go out and hustle, 99% of the time it's the right thing to be doing. A lot of the time before I was spending my time trying stuff and dabbling and whatever, whereas now I'm a bit slightly more focused with it. But I mean, motivation-wise, there's nothing better for me to wake up for. You know what I'm saying? I love the fact that I've got kids from all different, ages and are kind of all individual. So, with my little ones now, like being 35 now and having babies again, because my first set of babies, I was 17. Do you know what I'm saying? 17, 18, 19. So I didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't know who I was really at that point, you know what I'm saying, let alone how to make them people. So it's kind of, I've got a second chance now with my 3-year-old daughter and my 11-month-old son to kind of not rewrite. I wouldn't say that because there's no regrets in my household for, you know what I mean, what anyone's been through. Everything has shaped them. But now I can kind of, I do want to try molding my children a bit more now. Like with my other kids, I had that hippie attitude. My mum would be like, you know, do this and do that. I'm like, no, I want them to be free-minded children. If they want to play with that, they do that. If they want to do that, do that. And it ain't really gone the way I wanted it to go, to be fair. But, you know, I love and respect my kids, and they're on their journey. So I can clearly see that they're on their journeys. But, you know, they're going to have to go through some hardships in order to get there. We all will, some more than others though. But with my little ones, you know, I'm thinking about now, like, bang, so my little boy, I'm gonna get him into football from early. Start facilitating some of those things, put some money behind it. My daughter, push her a little. Yeah. So that's, I think there's something to be said from having that foundation. As much as I don't want to take the edge out of them and then their naturalism and whatever they have, there's something to be said with like what Will Smith done with his kids from a very early age. He had them around certain things, which is the reason why Jaden Smith can be doing the movies that he's doing now and kind of winning in the way he is, because he had that backing and he had that solid foundation. So, yeah, you know, that's what I want to do. But they're what I live for, bro. I mean, without them, I think I would be pretty much lost.
Cool, man. So, looking to where you are now, you've got a program on TV at the moment.
Yeah.
You've got something that's, I mean, just from speaking to your team today, it sounds like next year is a busy year for you.
Yeah.
Sort of, the timing sounds like it's going to all drop into place quite well. So what's the focus right now for those who don't necessarily follow or even watch TV? Because nowadays a lot of people.
Yeah, it's true. Right now, you can probably turn on ITV every Thursday. I don't know whether, but I think by the time this comes out, it might be done still.
Okay.
But I've got a show on at the moment every Thursday called Safe House. It's in its second season, but I weren't in the first season. So I mean, that's pretty much kind of what everyone's, you know, talking about or whatever. It's been trending like on socials for the last 2 weeks, I think, that it's been on. But my baby is Bulletproof. It's a show.
You like a bullet, bro.
I know, bro. Do you know what? It's just worked out that way. Bullet boy, top boy, and then now Bulletproof. It's just like, it's mad. But yeah, it's my baby, man. It's like, concept-wise, me and Noel Clark came up with this like 8 years ago, man. We sat in a Starbucks somewhere up in town. Literally before that point, been rivals in the game. So, you know, it'd been one of them things where I'd walk into a casting room, he was sitting there, I'd be like, for God's sake, man, to walk out.
Is that acting, him acting you're talking about?
Yeah. So we've always been going up for the same roles throughout our career. People won't know that because they don't see that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? The casting couch, bro, the room.
I'm more so new and more so for directing, to be fair.
Yeah, but Noel's done a bit. Like acting wise, he's done a bit. If you gotta remember, he's in every in every film he does of himself. And then he was in Doctor Who for a minute. You know, he's done like the BBC dramas and all of that stuff as well. He's been out there heavily, but he hasn't gone as hard as me on it. But that's because he's been producing and directing. But yeah, so we before that point we hadn't worked with each other. To be fair, there was slight animosity, if I'm honest with you, and something connected us. Something kind of road, half business, and a path was smoothed. You know what I'm saying? Put it that way. I'm trying to pick my words right. And so we just we connected business-wise. And I just said to him, like, it would just be a major coup if me and you were in something together. Because I think, like, we're the most, you know, other than Idris, there ain't really no one else working out here like us. You know what I'm saying? So I just think it'd be stupid if we don't do something together. And at that point, people had tried to keep us apart, and there was that whole, you know, you're the same, so you can't be in together. So we just came up with this idea about, I'd always been excited about the idea of trying to change socials or environment through film or TV. Oh, it sounds weird, let me explain. We have a culture over here that doesn't like police. Okay, yeah. Yeah? And I understand it, where it's come from. There's a lot of water under the bridge. But at the same time, if you look in America, even though the police killing, you know, criminals or people or whatever for no reason, and all of that stuff has been going on for years over there, black kids still grow up wanting to be feds. It's still glamorous to them over there for some reason. Like, there's no stigma attached to being a police officer over there, even though they have the same culture of don't snitch, don't do this work. The community kind of has the same vibe towards the police, but black people want to be police over there, and it's like a viable, it's a good career like choice to make. So I always thought, like, why is it not that way over there? But then I thought, well, then you got things like Bad Boys. You know, watching Will Smith and Martin Lawrence pushing a Porsche, jumping out whips, spinning around and all that stuff or whatever. Obviously, you kind of, as a kid, you want to be involved in that, but we don't have that over here. So I just wanted to make a show like that. Like, why can't we have...
Almost like Cool Police.
Yeah, just two cool feds.
You even got like the Kevin Hart films. Like, there's a lot of stuff over there that they have.
And we just don't do it. Yeah. So I was just like, yeah, we're going to do it. So me and Noel sat down and wrote that. So we're playing two undercover and National Crime Agency officers that are infiltrating kind of like, you know, drug rings and whatever. But we're just brethren. We came through together, we're from the road, we wear Balenciagas, we wear a Gucci, you get me, or whatever, we got family, or whatever, like, just two normal guys, do you know what I'm saying? Like, that people can relate to as characters, but we work for the police force. And we've gone all out, man. It's historical what Sky have done for us.
So this is a series, yeah?
It's a 6 hours, 6-parter. They've given us some crazy money per episode to make the show. Like, literally, we wouldn't make it. We said to them we wouldn't make it unless we can make it. You know, we want to shut down Tower Bridge and have cars flipping over each other. Do you know what I'm saying? Or whatever. And if we can't do it that way, we ain't doing it.
So in that situation, do you still have ownership over the show? You just taking it to them and they fund it?
Yeah, that's it. It's our show. We basically, it's like, I mean, I suppose it's like a license. So they get to have it for a certain period of time or whatever. And obviously they've got the option to redoing it season 2, season 3 or whatever to a certain extent. But all the rights are owned by myself and Noel, so we have like full ownership.
When's that coming?
I think we've got a slot for March, maybe next year. That could change, but we start shooting next month. We've been forced out of London due to recent events because of the whole terrorism situation and that, so we can't get any locations cleared. So we're shooting in Liverpool and parts of London, which will hopefully make it look like London still. So.
Cool, that sounds big, man.
Yeah, man, it's a good look, bro.
Cool. So other than that, I mean, obviously we've got a lot of things in the pipeline, a lot of things you're planning to do, and it's sort of like our quote-unquote deep question of the interview that I often ask people, which is like, when all's said and done, when your career is at that point where you look back on it and you're just sort of in a reflection moment, what would you say is you want to be known for? One, as a person, but also as an actor.
As a person, I think I'm happy already that, you know, just coming here and you going, I know how you are with your kids and whatever. For me, that's job done. Yeah. Career-wise, I still don't know, but I know that there's something big, and that's not going to be to do with a job. Do you know what I'm saying? But a long-term effect on the industry. I feel like I want to be able to, I will never know, but when I'm in my grave, I want to have that Bob Marley effect.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? To just be able to, for people, that brand to still be strong and people to still remember what it did. Do you know what I'm saying? And people to still be able to eat from it. You know what I'm saying? When I'm way out of it. You know what I'm saying? So I think if that's kind of what you're asking me, that's what it is. But I think that's more than any one job, any one Top Boy or whatever else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cool. And apart from that, would you say that the main focus and the goals that you've got going forward are all acting focused, or is there anything outside of acting that you might have, obviously?
Oh yeah, loads. But you know what? Like my manager said to me yesterday at lunch, she said, "Shut your mouth sometimes." So I'm not gonna say anything about these new ventures because some of them will be stolen.
Alright, so we won't look at the ones that you haven't told us about. I know you've got one that we do know about.
Yeah.
Which is obviously, is it a production school? Is it a drama school? How would you work the title?
It's a drama school. So what we've got is Kingdom Drama School, Kingdom School of Arts. Kingdom Drama School is the website. It's a part-time drama school. Pretty much, in the similar category as like Identity, where John Boyega went and whatever, owned by Femi. So we kind of, but I mean, I suppose the difference is we don't specify age. We start from 16 and it's upwards.
Yeah.
So at my school, I've got people in their 60s. Do you know what I'm saying? Coming to acting now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? All the way down, like white, black, whatever color. Like, it's very mixed, where a lot of other schools are very specific to, like, black kids at a certain age group or whatever. So we kind of mix it up. So we've got that. With that, we've got our own production company, Slander, slnda.com. So we've got like 5 things on our slate now that we're working into. And this is a new thing for me, the production company. So due to the fact I got the Sky deal, it's off the back of that's come. So we're trying to push them, like the shows that I told you, I've grabbed some real writers from the ends and for the people that I've known coming up that are writing real stories about superheroes, about assassins, about, fiction and fantasy. Oh, brother, I wish I could sit down and tell you about the show we're writing, brother. It's amazing. But, people plagiarize and take, so you got to keep them things close to your chest. But yeah, so that, and then another big one is Apex, which is our talent agency. So I'm running my own talent agency now as well. And the beauty of that is that kind of, we've got them coming through the school, and then we get to handpick them from the school and put them on a talent agency. Suppose the Kingdom School has been running for the last 6 years. I've always been involved with it, but I've only taken over co-ownership in the last 6 months. Okay. And that came because I felt that it needed rebranding and focus, even though it was doing so well, but also because I wanted to bring it closer to the industry. I feel like what happens with a lot of these drama schools and stuff like that is like, you get the certificate, you leave, but then what?
There's no direct.
Yeah, there's no direct road into the game. So kind of what I did with the school is kind of put them directly in touch.
Kind of like what Sylvia.
Yeah, exactly, with the industry. So, if there is another series of Top Boy or whatever, a lot of my students will be getting castings for it, and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's good. It's a good thing, man. It's a brilliant thing.
Cool. Listen, Ash, it's more than a pleasure for us to have you there today. Bro. Honestly, it's something that we all hold close to our heart from Bro Daily Team. We definitely support everything you do. Yeah. We see you in the mornings. Keep the jogging. We love that. We'll be reposting. But yeah, stay focused on the content we've got as well. We obviously like the fact that you was a support of our brand for this to be mutual. We wish you all the best of luck in everything you have to do.
Bro. Man, thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, bro.
Don't let you